Hello and welcome back to Nathan Bell's podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Today, Nate would like to talk about reality TV.
Right, today I'm going to talk about reality TV. Now, I'll be 38 next month, so I'm definitely of a generation where I remember before any of this reality TV stuff came about. Um, I really think that reality TV has really shaped the world since it started. It's really shaped the generations after sort of the early noughties where all this stuff started. It all sort of started with Big Brother, and I remember the first season of Big Brother. And what I want to say about it, I think really since reality TV, people have seem to have become far more superficial because they always seem to select these very perfect people. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't aspire to perfection or anything, but like I'm an imperfect guy. I'm a bit of a grungy guy. I'm a bit loose. I'm a bit messy. But it always seems to be these very pristine, perfect people, and that's okay because people should aspire to be good and perfect if there is such a thing. People should aspire to be good and good people, and and being attractive is nice, but it's always these people who are very superficial and very focused on physical attraction and fashion and all these things. I feel like reality TV really reinforces consumerist mentalities and really reinforces capitalism and the capitalist engine. It's all this superficial stuff about having expensive clothing, being aesthetically pleasing, being visually perfect, being of pristine physical fitness and perfectly attractive. And you see the people they bring into Big Brother, it's always these very big personalities. And there's nothing wrong with having a big personality, but it's always these very egotistical people, these big boisterous men, and these very gossipy girls who are all about seemingly very shallow things. And they don't talk about anything serious. They don't, I talk about nuclear war all the time. Most of the people I see starring in these reality TV shows, if you brought up a serious subject like nuclear war with them, they'd call you a freak. They wouldn't know how to deal with that sort of real discussion about political issues and war and conflict or anything that really matters in the world. So I feel like reality TV reinforces simplicity in our society and our culture and reinforces simple thinking and simple mentalities. It's strange, and I think it's really shaping how people think and people's psychology in our society towards a very superficial, consumerist-driven culture, and it's changing the culture engine. And the whole culture engine runs around this reality TV stuff now. But it's nice too because people like to watch mindless stuff, and you've got to switch off. So that's the other side of it. Like my mother, she's one of the most intelligent people you'll ever meet. She's a socialist. She works in government, and she's very intelligent and helps people with disabilities. She's anything but shallow. But her veg time thing that she likes to do is she likes to watch Real Housewives of California. And she jokes and she says, these are the normal people. She says they're the normal people. And of course, she's nothing like the Real Housewives of California. And I wonder if anyone is really like the Real Housewives of California. But that's, you've got to switch off, and she calls it brain bludgeoning because it's okay just to switch off and watch some mindless entertainment content as well. But I'm a real serious guy, and if you've watched my videos, I talk about geopolitics, I talk about science, I talk about serious political issues, war and conflict, and I think more people in our society should talk about those issues. And I think all these reality TV programs really reinforce not talking about issues like that, and talking about fashion and talking about sex and talking about relationships. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with talking about relationships, but there's more important things in the world to talk about than all of this really simple stuff. And a lot of the people they get on these shows just don't seem particularly intelligent. And it seems to be, it's almost as if it's been brought into, here I go with the conspiracies again. It's almost as if the corporate media have brought this format of reality TV in to sort of dumb down our society and to stupefy our society so that everyone will just stay enslaved and chained to consumerism, and buy more fashion and more pointless crap and objects and material wealth that won't bring them real happiness. So I find it frustrating, and it seems the whole culture engine has gone in this superficial, very simplistic direction, and it also detracts from real creativity because there's not a lot of real creativity that goes into these reality TV show formats. It's the same thing over and over again. It's this group of really superficial people doing this thing and sitting around talking for an hour, and you watch people sit around talking and gossiping for an hour. However, that being said, there are some really good reality shows which are more like documentaries, which showcase how there is a variety of lifestyles around the world. Like, you might not think much of Ice Road Truckers. That's a reality TV show about, what's it about? I haven't really watched it, but it's about men and truck drivers, women who drive dangerous icy roads for a living. Now, that's, not the most interesting subject, but it's nice to see how those people live. And Bear Grylls, I used to watch Bear Grylls all the time, Survivalist. That's a bit of a reality show because it's about a real man who goes out and really survives in the wilderness. And he's, ex-military and trained to survive in the wilderness. Now, that's really interesting because you get to see this very well-trained man's skill set and how survivalists live. And then there's all the survivalist shows, and I really like the Doomsday Prepper shows that shows off all the cult groups in America who like to pretend that the nuclear apocalypse is coming, and how they spend their whole lives planning to survive the apocalypse, because that's what I'm like. In my mind, I've spent my whole life planning to survive the nuclear apocalypse. So there are some of these shows that really showcase different people and the variety of people that are out there in the world, and how they live different lifestyles. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about variety, and diversity, because we're a diverse species, and I want to see more about different alternative lifestyles and different ways of living. When I was with Renew Newcastle, what I was doing at Renew Newcastle was I wanted to do my own reality TV show about street performers, and I thought that was a really interesting lifestyle to showcase with street performers, because a lot of people don't know what it's like to be a busker. And I've been busking around Newcastle for over 10 years, and I know what it's like to be a busker, and it's a very interesting alternative lifestyle. So I wanted to do a reality TV show pilot for a reality TV show / documentary about buskers and street performers, and I went around and interviewed dozens of buskers and street performers. Unfortunately, all of my footage got deleted by my associate at the time. I was very angry about that, as I've told you before. Moving on. So I didn't get to finish that project, but I was going to pitch that project, if I could, to television networks to see if we could do a reality show about buskers. So the reality TV show format is a good format for showing off how people have different lifestyles and how there's diversity in how human beings live around the world. And that's good, and I like those sorts of reality shows, like the one about the junkyard people who go around to all the different junkyards and collect junk and then sell it, and that's how they make their living, by buying and trading in used wares. Like, that's really interesting. Like, those people live that way. But honestly, I think a lot of it is staged as well. Like, they sell it to us as reality TV, but a lot of it is scripted and it is staged and it's not real, and they are acting. So it's disappointing because it's sort of false advertising, because it's not real. They're acting, and there is scripting, and there are directors, and it is staged. So it's not really reality TV anyway. So, the whole thing. It's amazing how culture has changed over the last 20 years. I'm lucky to be old enough, nearly 40, to have seen now how things have changed. And I really think reality TV has driven our culture in this direction, and largely in a very superficial, shallow direction, a simplistic direction. And like I said, from a conspiracy theorist perspective, it's almost as if the corporate mass media has brought in this format intentionally to dumb down our society so we won't talk about radical ideas and so we won't be invested in radical politics and politics in general. So anyway, there's some thoughts about reality TV. Drop a comment in the comment section what you think about reality TV.